Hi buds, and welcome to my channel. My name is Megan for those of you who are new here, and if you're returning for another video, thank you guys so much. This is, I don't even know how many episodes now with a guest speaker, but I'm really excited to get into this one. And funny kind of backstory, this is my very first time meeting my guest today, but I found her because of something awesome that she does, and I'm going to let her explain what she does. And she was posted on social media, and that's really how I found her, and then we followed each other on all social media platforms, and I'm just really happy and honored to be able to sit down and have her kind of talk to you guys today about what she does in her journey. So I'm going to go ahead and let you just introduce yourself, what you do, who you are, things like that.
Okay. Well, hello. I am Tierra, Lynae. To some, I am Simone Rose. I have a podcast called Notebooksncoffee. It is geared towards how everyday life affects your mental health.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's amazing. I will put her podcast information down below and her social media, whatever she's comfortable with, you guys know. I'll post that down in the comment section. So if you guys are interested in listening to her podcast, I do highly suggest it. So I have a fun icebreaker question. If you watched any of my other videos, you guys know I've kind of started asking people this just to kind of break in before we get into the serious questions. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, if you could be a cucumber in a salad, how would you be?
Okay, in a salad. Diced? Is it diced? Sliced?
Yeah, like 4 ways?
Yeah,
I think that's diced.
Okay, so diced 4 ways with salt, pepper, and ranch.
Good answer. That's a good answer. Mine, you guys already know, I was like, I don't know, just put me in the salad.
Throw me on there.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so now that we kind of got into the introduction, and she gave us a gist of what she does and where she's at. So a lot of the things that she talks about on her podcast is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what episodes I've heard, mental health. You've talked about things with different relationships. She even brings in like different men and women to have their aspects of things about where their journey has been. And I think that's so amazing and something that obviously I'm trying to do on this channel. So can you kind of just tell us, for one, what is your podcast what is it all about? Just give us an overarching. And then 2, what kind of led you there? What made you think, hey, I need to do this?
So the podcast is everything mental health, from when you wake up and brush your teeth to the time you go to bed. I've talked about everything from being in an abusive relationship to my miscarriage to suffering from PTSD from being raped. I've literally talked about everything. I even got one that's called Mind Your Business, because people don't seem to realize like minding your business is a big part of your mental health. What led me to it actually 2 years ago, I thought like we don't really talk about mental health, and by we I mean black folks. No disrespect to any other race, but black folks in particular don't talk about their mental health, or we're not necessarily allowed to. So for me, I wanted to create a safe space for people to be open and be able to just talk about any and everything. And if you've listened, you see I'm very unfiltered. I don't edit my podcast or anything. I just kind of get on there and talk, and whatever comes out, it just comes out. You either like it or you don't.
Yeah, I love that. And again, so she's very raw and vulnerable, and I think that that's super important in this world, though, because I think sometimes people try to sugarcoat things, and they just don't want to talk about these things. And like you said, in the black community and in different worlds too, there's just so many different avenues of things that you can or cannot talk about. And I think mental health is just one of those things where it's always just swept under the rug, and people suffer so much from the things that they're not allowed to share, they can't share, and they suffer alone. So I think having a podcast where somebody's open and completely honest about all of the tragic things that have happened, one, goes to show that you're not alone in this, and that other people are going through that. And I think that's really comforting for some people. And 2, some of the things that you've talked about can serve as solutions for people as well. So, thank you for doing that. So you mentioned kind of like what you're doing and why. So can you, I guess, just explain your personal history with mental health, like everything that, I guess, you kind of mentioned in one overview on what you have gone through. In talking with other people on your podcast, do you feel like you've been opened up more to mental health? Do you feel like you've learned more?
All right, so my journey with mental health started I was in high school. I was like 15 or 16. I was in 10th grade. Whatever age you're in 10th grade and you didn't like fail or stay back, that's how it was. And I was talked about a lot because of my skin complexion. So that's where it started. But growing like as an adult, and they don't tell you this in school, like as an adult, like things hit you like really, really hard. Good, bad, or indifferent. But for me, it was at 16, I wanted to commit suicide. Because of stuff that was going on in school. And then, you know, at the age, you and your mom don't really get along. So she was on my nerves, and then everything that was going on in school, I was just like, I'm over it. Like, I want to be done. So it started there, and it kind of just trickled down to different relationships, or whether they were platonic or romantic, work, myself, like everything. I feel like everything I do somehow, some way affects me mentally. Like,
well, it does, absolutely. And I did an episode. I don't know when I'm going to post this, so I'm just going to say I've done an episode. But the person I was talking to, she was kind of just talking about how, you know, unfortunate things happen every day, and it's just the reality of life, and they're going to continue to happen. But it's really kind of what you make of it and where you go. So to kind of touch base on that, this is always a hard question, but do you think that everything that has happened in your life, are you a believer if everything happens for a reason? This one's hard.
Okay, so I'll say yes. I don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, never.
But I'll say yes. Because with my miscarriage, like, you can't tell me that happened for a reason. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, what happened. But I do think everything happens in its time. So whatever's meant to happen to you, good, bad, or indifferent, it's supposed to happen. It's either supposed to show you something, or you grow from it.
Yeah, I'm a really firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And you guys, if you've listened to any of my videos, know that sometimes you don't know the reason. And it may suck, and it may take you 12 years to know the reason. But maybe the reason that those bad things have happened to, you know, to somebody is because you're meant to make a podcast to help other people, or you're meant to do YouTube videos, or whatever the case is. So I do believe that, for me personally, all the crappy and horrible things that have happened to me were specific and meant for a reason, because now I can speak on those more, and I can try to help people. And, you know, everybody's pain is not the same, and somebody's going to handle different things completely differently. So that's definitely not what I'm trying to say, but I think those things happened, like you said, to teach you. They make us stronger, and then we're able to kind of try to help other people and put our mark on the world because of what has happened. So, okay, so can you, now that you've talked about your past and your history, can you kind of just tell us where you are now with your mental health? Do you feel like you're stronger and that you've come out on top, and again, like, this has happened for a purpose?
Girl, Sunday, I don't know where I'm at today. And my mental health changes daily. Most days I'm good. I'm in a good space. There are other days where I don't feel like talking to nobody. And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily depressed, but I get like that when I don't want to talk. And people will like, you're on social media, like, so what? Mind your business. I just don't want to talk to you. Like, I just may not be in a headspace where I want to interact with people, and that's okay. Yeah,
that's absolutely okay.
But for the most part, I'm good. I'm in a happy place, or trying to get back to my happy place. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I do think that's important. I was, for a long time, really one of those people who was like really attached to my phone, and I just wanted to talk to people all the time. But as I've started getting into counseling and just like trying to figure myself out, my own mental health, I have tried so hard, and I have detached from people, and I've detached from situations, and I've, you know, kind of left myself having those days where if I don't want to talk, that's completely fine, and that's so normal. And I think that is good for your mental health. Like, you have to have days where you are allowed to feel your emotions. You're allowed to relive your pain and allowed to live through that trauma, because that's healthy for you. So, you know, never feel like you're in a situation where you have to respond to people and give those answers. And if you need a day to be by yourself and not talk to anybody, take that day, because it's super important. Okay, so to kind of tag along with that, what motto or like thing do you live by? What keeps you going?
Can we cuss? Can we?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it. Literally. That is my motto. That's actually my favorite F word ever. Like, fuck it. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like I said, good, bad, or indifferent, it is going to happen, and you just got to be able to roll with it whenever it happens.
Yeah.
And feel whatever it is you're feeling in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Got to deal with it. And then you got to kind of take it to the chin sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, and you ain't going to like it, but you got to take it to the chin. But that's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of got to deal with it.
Yeah. So we know your message, what you're doing. So what message do you want to send to the people who you are trying to serve? So in reaching your podcast, even if they're not listening to your podcast, I know you just did an event, which I missed and I'm so upset about. But
we had the next one.
Yes, I will. So she did like a mental health event and it was really, really cool. So with that, like, what's your ultimate goal? What are you trying to reach or serve to those people?
I want people to know that they're not alone. Like I said, I touch on almost everything in my podcast. So, and the event was, it was a little different. We ate, we laughed, we drank. I had cards and I laid them out, and I had each lady pick up 2 or 3 cards, like randomly, and they couldn't see what was written on them. So by the time they got their cards, when it was time for them to flip like one by one, they were like, "Oh shit! Like, oh, can I repick?" And I was like, "Nope. Answer the question on the card."
I like that.
And it kind of, I would say, I guess, broke barriers because you get to see the mom who feels like she's a terrible mother because she is a single mom. You get to see the woman who lost her brother, who's struggling. You get to see the woman who miscarried and is like, what the fuck? Like, you get to see the woman who is rebuilding herself. So it was fun. We had a lot of fun, and then to kind of lighten the mood, because I was expecting someone to cry, and I'm not gonna lie, like when they cried, I clapped because I was excited. I was like, yes, my job is done.
It's a breakthrough.
But we played Jenga, and I call it Jenga with a twist. So, and it was where I wrote something positive on the Jenga block. So each block that you pulled, before you restacked it, you had to do or say what was on the block, which was fun. My best friend actually gave me that idea. So we had a really good time, and I'm looking forward to like the next events. But I just want people to know they're not alone.
Good.
Especially the guys. That was my mansplaining series. I'm taking a break from that, but I'm going back to it. But I really got to talk to some dope guys about like life. I had one that was like, he lost his vision, and I was like, well shit, I've been blind since I was 6. Like, if I really couldn't see, like, I've been wearing glasses since I was 6, but like if I couldn't see, like really see, I'd probably lose my mind. I had a guy talk about PTSD. I had a guy talk about him walking in and finding his best friend dead. I've had a guy, talk about his mom not wanting him. So there's a story for everybody. And the ones that don't want to admit it, like just listening to it, you'll find something that you've gone through. Or you may know somebody that's going through it.
Yeah,
but absolutely. I want people to be able to talk freely and not be judged.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. And I do think it's so good that you touch so much into men, because I feel like more than anybody, unfortunately, they're even more tightly confined.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. So with that being said, like you mentioned, you want people to be able to talk freely. You want people to be able to be opinion free. How do you keep yourself focused and, I guess, energized and leave the negative energy, if you get any, outside? Like, how do you take away those outsider opinions and just stay focused on what you're doing?
I don't know, because I feel like for the most part it's easy for me to stay focused because of the message and like what I'm trying to do. But the days I don't feel like it, like I had a girlfriend who I told her one day, I was like, I ain't do nothing for my podcast. Like, I ain't feel like it. And she was like, okay, we're not going to do that. Like, you got to do your podcast. My best friend, as annoying as he is always on me. Like, did you do this? Did you do that? And what's going on with this? So if I'm ever like not wanting to do it, I really don't have a choice, because like there's always somebody who's in my ear like, what's going on. I have my best female friend down in Georgia, her boyfriend, I will never forget this, text me one morning. So I dropped the podcast on Anchor. Anchor then distributes it to like 7 different avenues, like Apple, Google, Spotify. He happens to listen on iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio updates like last out of all of them. And depending on what time zone you're in, he drives the trucks. So, you know, they drop at midnight on Wednesdays. And it was one Wednesday that it came out at midnight and iHeartRadio hadn't updated it yet. And he sent me this long message like, where's your podcast? And da-da-da. I'm like, sir, it is out there. I don't know. Go to a different avenue. Like,
that's so funny.
So yeah, people stay on me whether I want to do it or not. People are always like, all right, now what's going on?
But that's good. That means that people want to hear what you have to say, and you're reaching those people that you're trying to serve. So that's amazing. Good. So you answered all my questions. Okay. And I like when people you answered a lot of my questions without me having to ask. So I appreciate that. Do you have anything else that you want to share? Any message that you want to give, to everybody?
If I had to give a message to people watching, the people listening, speak up. I did an interview with a brother of mine, and his thing was men don't raise their hand when it comes to mental health. So I would say just that, like, raise your hand. Whatever it is you're going through, 9 times out of 10, somebody has been through it or is going through it, and you're not by yourself. Don't be afraid to speak up, especially if you are going through depression. Talk to somebody. You can always hit me up on Instagram. My handle is at Notebooksncoffee.
I'll put it in the description too.
I have to think about it. It's at Notebooksncoffee. I have a Notebooksncoffee Facebook page too. I don't have a YouTube channel yet. I'm working on that. But if you are ever going through something and you feel like there's nobody there, I will listen. I'm a good listener. And I don't necessarily spew out advice if you ask, but just know, if you ask me for advice, you're going to get the real. I'm not sugarcoating anything. But yeah, you are definitely not alone at all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think that's really a good message and an important thing for people to know. And as she mentioned, so I will put her information, whatever she's comfortable with sharing. I always like to ask people, so I'll put that below. So if you guys do want to reach out, and then again, if you want to listen to her podcast, I listen to it and I absolutely love it. And I think she's doing great things and going an amazing direction. So it'll be awesome to also watch you go in that journey. So I will put that information below as well. Thank you again for doing this.
Show me how to do this, because I eventually want to make my podcast visual.
Yep. Yeah, I started from a podcast, and I actually started there because I was like, I want to get my YouTube channel up and going, so I started the podcast. I did it for like 3 months, and I was like, yeah, I'm more of a video person, because I was doing videos before the podcast. So my podcast is no longer existent, but I will help you with YouTube. Okay. So yes, if you guys haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Again, this is like the 5th or 6th person you'll probably be seeing doing these interviews, and that is the direction of where my channel will be going. So it's not just me talking to you guys, but I love getting other people's opinions and what they're doing and their views and just different avenues of knowledge, so that way you guys can learn from different people. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. Also give it a big thumbs up. More than anything, guys, remember, you are so loved, you are so cared for, you are appreciated. I hear you, I see you, I love you guys, and I will talk to you next time.
Bye.